And last but not least, let's talk about Transformers.
Sure.
And just letting you all know, this is going to be the one Transformers film that we're going to talk about and kind of
that's it.
praise up in a sense.
Right.
I'm not going to do a
No.
retrospect
You don't need to
on
do
the
none
other
of these.
four, not
Nope.
even the second one, because I know
Nope.
people probably dying to talk about Revenge of the Fallen, look back at
Nope.
it and laugh at it. But
Nope.
no, right? So
Yeah,
we
so
is
hot take.
yeah, go on.
Before we start, hot take. I actually like this film more than I do Bumblebee.
I remember this way more than Bumblebee, to be honest.
Right.
Because
Right.
we saw it and reviewed it and liked it for what it was, right? Especially with the fact that it stuck with the 80s, because it was set in the 80s and whatnot, right? John Cena wasn't bad as a villain, and forgetting, I'm forgetting her name, who was in Hawkeye. Gosh, forgive me.
Steinfeld.
Yeah, Haley Steinfeld. Yeah, she was fine as a lead and whatnot, and Bumblebee was likable and all that kind of stuff. But it was more leaning on the 80s tropes more than the it's Transformers, yo.
Yeah, it's my problem with Bumblebee. It with two things. The Bumblebee was too little, too late, and the problem with it, it's kind of like somebody just kind of just read up everything on the internet and just want to please the internet crowd. Like, people just complaining about what they want, a particular aesthetic for years. And then they finally get it and be like, all right, well, he finally just did it. But it come across as just ingratiating and patronizing. That's the problem, my problem with Bumblebee. And because it didn't do anything else other than just come across as patronizing, I liked it more than, the sequels. Fine. But it still came across as patronizing and thing. And we had to get into that little obnoxious little pattern that seemed to be happening across the board. We're definitely going to talk about that next week with Star Trek, right? But yeah. I just have this problem of you're just listening to people's complaints instead of making something. Because that's what it felt like. It didn't feel like a particularly interesting story or anything like that. I suppose if he took the effort to make sequels and we got some sequels from it, then fine. But yeah, I just was so underwhelmed with it in that sense. So, but this film, on the other hand, even though I have problems with this film, it felt like, they're doing something with it too, and it's kind of interesting. And it had the kind of the Man of Steel problem where it on itself is okay. I'm in the camp that defends Man of Steel. But the problem is that you need the sequels to leverage itself and justify it. And because the sequels of this was so much trash, this film is be hurt in retrospect, unfortunately. But at the time, I kind of really enjoyed this one. I thought it was pretty goddamn awesome.
Agreed. Yeah, right. So as this is a retrospect review, we have to talk about our history with the film and I guess to extent Transformers itself, right?
Yeah.
So slight confession, not like the biggest Transformers fan, right? What I mean is that I don't know all the Transformers, like Generation 1 Transformers, right? My introduction to Transformers literally was through the TV show, right? It showed on a station called EVM, so I was like, oh, okay, that's worth it. And they also showed G.I. Joe, right? And points for EVM for actually showing Transformers the movie, which I thought was just so badass in comparison to the original series itself, though. Like, for one thing, that theme song kicks so much ass, though. My God, right? And then just the decisions to just go with a hard PG, though, because I mean, when you look at it now, it is one of the, I don't want to say the most violent animated films of all time, but it was a great subversion of the Saturday morning cartoon trope. It's like, yo, this is for theaters, adults coming to see this, so yeah, we can show you all some Transformer violence. We gonna earn that PG dread, even to the point of literally killing Optimus Prime, which at the time I thought was still a ballsy move. Then over the years I found out.
I know we know now.
That shit, like kids were crying and that shit.
We know now why they did it. Now why they did it. The same reason. He had a tank Ronald Reagan. He had to sell toys, right? So
yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, this is a series designed to sell toys, the Hasbro stuff, right? Yeah. So so not and I mean, it's not like I collected all of them. I probably get some cheap imitation one, because yes, fun fact though, in the 90s they were cheap knockoffs of Transformers. I got a couple and they were trash, right? But that's all I'll say, right? So yeah, I knew of. It's only later on that I will understand its place in pop culture and all that kind of stuff, right? In the 90s, I was a huge fan of Beast Wars. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Beast Machines, I didn't really like that much, but the theme song was dope. I always felt it was.
Right.
But it was just like, all right, well, and then of course it was that and G.I. Joe as well too, right?
Right.
But then in the 2000s, right, this is when we were exposed. Well, sorry, in the mid 90s, we were exposed to a director by the name of Michael Bay, right? We've talked about this earlier, with our review of The Rock, right? So how he just came onto the scene strong, right, with Bad Boys, and it went on, right? So not all of his films, worked. Be like, I still think Armageddon is trash. Pearl Harbor had the germ of a great idea there, but it's still trash. That whole love triangle thing, don't care at all. You know what I mean? But like he was going on this particular streak now, and it's like, all right, he doing the PG-13 stuff now, but they not really landing as well though. But when Transformers came around, I'll never forget when the teaser dropped. And this is, I actually love how they worked it into the film itself. That's where they had the clip of, okay, we had this space vehicle, and it on the moon, I believe it is,
right.
And then you see that
Mars
right.
Rover.
Right, it was on Mars. It was on Mars.
Yeah, the Mars Rover on here. So right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I remember
that was the teaser. And then when we saw that, and then when when you saw the logo show up, the title itself, that one I was like, all right. And then when you see the name of the director, Michael Bay, immediately I told myself he was born to do this. And then when the movie came out, I never forget this. I actually saw this like first screening. I went to Cribs, it was 8 to see it, right? And I'll bring this up in the review itself. Literally every transformation in that movie, people were going, "Bah!" Noise every.
So yeah,
But your history with Transformers, the product, the franchise, the TV shows and whatnot, and then leading up to this movie.
Yeah, I'm in a similar place with you. I was not a super fan of Transformers. I was more of a G.I. Joe fan, to be honest, at the time. But yeah, the franchise was great. The movie was great, and I never really cared for the extended universe of Transformers. But then I really got into Beast Wars. I thought Beast Wars was a solid show. I was like, because my other friends in school at the time, they were really into it, and they got me into it. And it's like, oh yeah, Beast Wars showing literally every day on Cartoon Network. It's like, all right, cool, guys, I'll go and catch up with it. And that's basically what happened. And it was pretty damn awesome. And then when was I with? So it was 2007. At the time there was a little game called Gears of War that came out in late 2006. So Gears of War, and I remember amongst my friends, he was like, boy, that Transformers looking hard, boy. And this was like Comic-Con kind of scene. And then that same trailer came out. Then when the movie was typed to hype, my friend went to see it in Shogunas, right? And he called me, Dread, to tell me how freaking hard it was, Dread. Like, all right, I tell myself, watch now. I have to see this in the most impressive, thing ever. What are going to be the most impressive screen at the time? And this was before IMAX. We had Movie Town, and I went to Movie Town to see this. And I was
lucky you, boy. Lucky you.
No, I just know I went out on my goddamn way to see that shit. I was like, yeah, boy, I'd go and see this somewhere else. Where I can't see this in no normal theater. I was in local theater, baby boy. I know something again. I'm not coming across.
Not national.
National, yes.
Right,
I was like, nah, boy, you can't see this in national, Dread. But my friend saw it in national, and I suppose I could have go there for the crowd hype. I wanted to see it just for the look, just to see it in proper, as good as I could see it at the time, right? In terms of the aesthetic and the approach and everything like that. And I was just so goddamn blown away by this, though. Like at the time, like, what is looking real freaking hard, though. Nothing like it. I was like, because I remember me and my cousin, I made a point about, look, if we're gonna have a Transformers movie, it's gonna be the most expensive bullshit ever, and they're never gonna make it. I remember having that conversation with my cousin, boy, how they'll never have it. And then, like, I was like, boy, I actually seen it, but I'm like, wait, boy, I wish I could see this with my cousin right now, Joe. And that was about it. Like, it was just so, like, just the tech and the special effects and whatever it is. And I didn't really care about the damn plot. Didn't care about the plot. Plot was whatever. Like, it was just a typical sci-fi plot. But it was fine. And well, we were talking about all the little problems I have with it as it is. But I thought it was pretty goddamn awesome. Like, just from a spectacle standpoint. And then they had
especially emphasis on spectacle, yeah.
Yeah. And it just gets so many things right in terms of the action sequences. I mean, we could talk about all the kick-ass action sequences, but like just seeing in the trailer, like you see one of the robots rollerblading and then bust up. I'm like, what?
I'm gonna talk about that. Yeah.
I like no, but they just nailed so many things and get so much right. But yeah, I'm it's a movie that again aesthetically and spectacle wise good. Have problems with the issue, and it's basically Man of Steel all over. Well, previous to Man of Steel, right? It's proto Man of Steel. Much like how you feel about Man of Steel, where I like the film as it is, and it have a lot of cool moments, but they really needed to follow up properly on it, and it didn't do that at all. That's how I felt about it. So yeah.
Yeah. So a couple things before we jump back into before we start the review proper, right? So for me, you know what I mean, if it's one thing you could take from this movie, boy, is the visual effects, boy. Yeah. And I will never forget, like I believe it was nominated for best visual effects at the Academy Awards, and I was rooting for this movie to win, Tread.
Yeah.
When I hear Golden Compass won, I was like, nah, fuck that. I know you've been watching Golden Compass. Good thing that movie flopped. Good thing that movie flopped.
And I like
because
Golden
what
Compass,
you have some gigantic bear fighting another bear. That's why win an Oscar. I mean, come on, man. That could never compare to Transformers.
Here's the thing, the Golden Compass. Those movies is real trash. But I like the books. The books are great. They're basically
I heard they're great. Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically anti like aesthetically and philosophically. They're basically the opposite of what do you call it? Lion Witch and
Chronicles of Narnia.
They're pretty much like the opposite of that, because like Chronicles of Narnia is like very explicitly Christian, and this is like a very explicitly secular or atheist books now. Like
like King Aslan, or if it is like literally is Christ. It's
pretty
Christ.
much Jesus, right?
Yeah,
exactly. And the author is like this big time Christian apologist now. Like for years now, everybody knows this, right? But yeah, it was shocking to me too. I was like, nah, boy, that be Transformers, boy, that bullshit. Nah, man.
I know, right? Still to this day, I don't understand how that even won, right? Yeah. But lastly, I want to say before we move on, boy, but because we've talked about the sequels before, when we did our review of The Rock, right? And just how the quality just dipped, boy. But I will never forget, Dread, when the embargo basically for Revenge of the Fallen, right? Which I still call ROTFL, like it's ROTF, right? But anyway, I would never forget Roger Ebert, rest in peace, right? He was one of the first people to drop a 1 star out of 4 and say, boy, this is one of the worst things ever. And when I see that review, I was like, wait, what? Mm-hmm. This movie, Revenge of the Fallen, because I mean the hype level for that movie alone
was very high,
off the Richter jet. So like when Roger Ebert come and say, wait, this movie is shit, and he put out his review after this film critic in England say it was shit. I was like, wait, no, what? And then I went and see it for myself. I was like, yep,
yeah, Commode, yeah. Was it Commode? Mark Commode?
I think so. I think it's Mark Commode. It's probably him.
Here's the thing about that second film, right? So again, we will just talk about the sequels quick and then we'll get into it. The second film, I kind of give a pass, only because it had a writer's strike at the time, right? It was also a victim.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It was also
so they had to rush things. Right. I understand.
It was also a victim of the writer's strike. But see, here's the thing, seeing the following movies, that I'm thinking, well, it'll still be trash too. Like, I don't know if it'll turn out to be good, because I was just so annoyed of how much potential they squander in a second movie now. Like, it's good, it have like a lot of good conceits, and I was enjoying it up until Optimus's death. Well, quote unquote death, right? And then everything after that was rubbish. I hated it. But like the actual film itself, but that first half was good though. Everything else after that was crap, and you could tell, like it really come across, like in retrospect, knowing about our writer's strike, you get the feeling like halfway through the film, they had to, sort out that now. And that's why they ended up stopping, but they end up continuing the film instead of using more in the script. Like they can't do that now. Normal Hollywood shit, right? And so that's why even though the third film is technically better, maybe.
And at least they give Leonard Nimoy, sorry, rest in peace. They give him a little time to shine.
Right, exactly. But the thing is, I like episode. I just give that one. I hate that one more because it had less of an excuse. That's how I feel about it. Like,
dog, there's the first half of that movie is just painfully dull and pointless shit. Yeah. And sorry, I mean, I love my little action where I could shove popcorn in my face, but that last act ran on for forever, dread. It is even worse with Age of Extinction, dread. Yeah, that scene that went forever, and it was even worse with Age of Extinction. My God, that third act, like to a point. We talked about it before, where like I don't think I brought it up before, but it reminds me, ironically, of the third act in G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra, which was the last thing I expected to see to live action, but it happened of the success of this movie here that we're going to talk about. But dog, that third act in that movie, my brain just fizzled out. I was just watching imagery. I was just watching explosions. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I could care less for what I see.
Yeah, well, this film set up something that I really hate about the entire franchise, which is, too much goddamn humans. Like, they had to make humans a thing. They have to center on one of the humans.
Yeah, we'll talk about that controversy. Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
But yeah, like what?
Right, yeah. In particular, we had to talk about whether we needed humans or if there was too much time spent on them. But we'll talk about it here with this, right?
Have one or two humans you needed to focus on. Them is the only two. Right. Sam and what's your name?
And Michaela, yeah.
Michaela, right.
But when you had to talk up, when you had to bring up Sam's parents, even worse in the second one. My God,
the parents they still tied to Sam. My problem was the character, the soldier. I hate that character. He's so much trash. And then Tyrese.
Oh, you mean William? You don't care for Josh Duhamel character?
Yeah, terrible. Hate it. Right.
Generic, I would say, but not terrible. Yeah. But I see what you mean, yeah. And of course, your boy Tyrese, aka We Hungry, as well too. But we'll get to them in a bit, right? So started off the review. So boy, like for me, like even when I first saw it, right, and the more times I gave this film a watch, because I've watched this numerous times. Just like literally, I haven't seen the movie in like about 10 years or so. So it's really cool recap, right, for this, right? Even like the title sequence, like when you see the companies involved, though, let you know the type of movie you're gonna watch by it. So you're seeing DreamWorks and Paramount, right? This is the one thing I love about this intro. You might look at it and find it kind of cheesy, but I'm a sucker for sound design. So I just love that every bit of movement that you see have some kind of sound effect associated with Transformers. So like when you see the DreamWorks logo and you see the boy in the moon, and when he's about the fish and he hits the pulley head, that you hear like sound effects, so you just building that ambient tension. This ambient noise and all that. Even when you see the stars for the Paramount logo, you're hearing the sound effect. I love that shit. I love that opening. I love it. It's cheesy, but I love it. It perfectly sets up the type of movie that you're gonna see. And essentially, this is where, yes, you crank your volume up to 11. It's that kind of show. Right? So, through Optimus's opening narration, by the way, I always love the fact that they got Peter Cullen to come back.
Yeah, they bring him back, of course.
You
can't go wrong. But they got who for Megatron? I like
Hugo Weaving, and I remember finding that out after the fact. Like,
I didn't mind that at all. Yeah,
like in the credits, I didn't know
who it is. Elron and Agent Smith himself. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So through Optimus's opening narration, we learned of the Allspark. Right. If I have one gripe with the movie, there's numerous gripes I have with the movie. They can't like pick a proper, like they can't stick with that name for the MacGuffin dread. So 1 minute is the Allspark, next minute is the Cube. Like the film opens talk about the Cube, then as soon as the Transformers come in, it's the Allspark, and they just kind of juggle it back. But like, make up your mind, Tread.
I don't have a problem with that, but it's fine.
Call it the damn Cube now, right? Shit, right? Anyway, so the Cube itself is this Tesseract kind of thing that could create worlds and fill them with life, right? So this is how the Autobots and Decepticons were created, right? So slight little detour here, right? Now, because I am not a Transformers super fan, right? I had no problem with this version of Transformers. I know that it have diehard Transformers fans who didn't like this film in particular because, well, this is not how Transformers lore was, and this is not how Cybertron was created, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, look, it's 2007. Shut up, right? We've been used to seeing, properties that we love changed up radically to cater to people who have no clue about who these characters are. Case in point, X-Men, right? I had no problem with the changes in X-Men. I had no problem with the changes in Spider-Man. So, like, when I went to Transformers, like, cool, device thing, create Cybertron and Autobots and Decepticons, fine. Like, I don't want to go into lore. Like, come on, this Transformers, bro. Anyway, so Decepticons wanted the cube, war erupted, and the planet Cybertron was ravaged, right? Which is something that the sequels really like shitty bed with. Sorry, because 1 minute they tell you Cybertron destroyed, then they tell you Cybertron actually there all along, right? That's what they did in that god awful Last Night, which still remains the worst film of the decade, right? But anyway, right? So the cube was lost in space pretty much, and of course it finds its way to Earth, right? The Autobots pick up on the signal, and they just proceed on their way, which you'll see them later on, right? So cut to present-day Qatar, right? And we're introduced to your boys, Josh Duhamel's character, Captain William Lennox. He's the leader of the Army Rangers. And we have Tyrese, a.k.a. We Hungry Gibson, who plays Sergeant Robert Epps, right?
Yeah.
Because of that Michael Bay movie, I had no problem with seeing, because, he loves the American military, right? So I kind of expect it to have military
that's a big thing about it. It's latter era Bush administration. So, it's dedicated to the military.
Yeah, but you say you don't like the characters, or especially Josh's character, like why?
I hated that this dude had a backstory at all, Jared. Like, fuck you and your
oh gosh. No, well, when it comes to William Dua, it's kind of funny, like looking at it now that he having this video chat with his wife and his daughter who's never seen him, right? Yeah. And they uses Cisco Unified Communications, and they're like, wow, this is like long before Skype chat and Zoom thing. It's funny looking at it now, like wow, like how technology has changed. But I do agree with you, though. It's the time spent on him, and you're thinking that he's gonna be the central character in the movie, because the time that they spend there at this base is like, no, not really. Just give him a little backstory, because we have to care. That's the problem, right? But personally, I have no problem with him, right? And I mean, Robert, Tyrese's character, he just there as backup and to drop jokes and be loud.
I don't know about I mean, it's as bad as it can get. I mean, this typical black man have to be funny bullshit, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, no. So this mysterious chopper, right, ends up like coming into their airspace, right, and then through some little chatter, in the base itself, they realize that it was some downed chopper that was presumed down. Like 3 months ago, right? But yeah, it shows up, right? And it actually ends up in the airspace itself, like I said, right? It jams their radar, and like a small group of soldiers, go out to investigate, right? And I always thought it was cool, even look at it now, that this particular Decepticon, because it's a Decepticon, right? Has like a virtual pilot thread. So like when humans see them, it's like, there's a little hologram of a human inside there. I always thought that was a brilliant call thread in the series. I love that, right? And then we get our first transformation. Like I said, every transformation in the movie got a vocal response from the audience. So when that first transformation take place, there was like, "Boah!" You know what I mean? And I was like that.
And I love it. Okay, so this I didn't mind, because like a lot of people complain about they wanted the transformations from the cartoon. I like, look, I like the transformation of the cartoon, but I like this, because what I like about this is that you get a sense of you're hearing all the gears and the clicking. The song design is so good.
Yes.
I actually really like the transformers in this, the transformations in this. I didn't have a problem with that.
Totally agree, dude. It feels logical. I love that there was just a decision to say, here's what, we're making a film with gigantic robots turning into vehicles. Let's make it look as practical as possible. And the time spent into making these things look at the transformations, look as practical as possible. Yeah, round of applause, right? So even this one thing with the chopper itself, like when the rotors stop and turn, and you hear a bit of the wah, but it's not like it takes 3 seconds and all of a sudden turns a gigantic robot. It takes like about 10 seconds or so, and then you just see all the gears and stuff moving, and it totally works. And I have to say this right off the bat, the VFX in this movie still holds up. This is like 15 years old, dog.
Why this works so well? Yeah, what I like about the Transformers in this film in particular, the other films kind of sort of hold back on it, and it's kind of like the same thing with the early Iron Man movies. That sense of A, mechanism, and B, weight. Like you get a sense of weight and momentum. Like, yes, something the weight of a helicopter is moving through the scene, right? Like you get just stuff hitting stuff, moving, hitting the ground. They get a good thump to everything. The Star Trek 2009 also did this really well with their warp. Like if you go back to that scene, you just hear that instead of like with the normal warp sound effect, no, you're just hearing dum dum dum. Like
I prefer that.
Yes,
agree. Totally agree. Yeah,
I prefer that.
Right, so it starts blowing up there's this antenna farm around, right? And dude, this sequence alone is so badass, right? Yes, it's a Decepticon blowing up shit, and it's Michael Bay, he carries this, right? But just in terms of, oh my god, is a giant robot doing this, it just hard. It's hard.
There's one thing I felt they should have kept with, at least with the Decepticons. You see the whole Decepticons talking to each other in machine language thing? I prefer if they kept I didn't want to hear any Decepticon talk. Maybe Starscream and maybe Megatron, that's it, like 1 or 2 lines. But I felt if they kept it where these Decepticons were just talking machine language, talking to each other, that would have been like, don't have them relate to the audience. Have the Autobots, because the Autobots is the good guys and they had to talk to humans. Have them speak. Don't do the keep them doing the machine stuff.
Right. What is it? Cybertron language? I guess that's
whoever. Like the point is you're seeing it in you had to see translation for it now. I like that. I prefer that. And they don't talk. Like I don't just be serious business. But again, that's just from my generation of I need stuff all serious business and hardcore now. But at the time that worked. That totally worked for my generation and me.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. So the Decepticon itself, I'll just gonna call it the Decepticon. It's only like later on in the third act, which is another gripe I have, but I'll get to that, where you finally learn its name, whatever, right? So it grabs at the server and then just starts hacking it, right? There's a cool shot actually. I actually forgot this was the movie where a smaller Decepticon like kind of exits the back of the large one and just burrows under the ground. And then the sequence ends with the Decepticon just pretty much just blow it up a bunch of military planes, right? And stop, right? And then we're introduced to Sam Witwicky, boy, played by actor, rapper, and motivational speaker.
And General Meldong Haver.
yes. How can we forget?
He real God dong, boy. God.
My God, boy. But but you have to remember that he's a motivational speaker too.
Apparently.
Do it!
Yeah, that's right.
Do it!
Yeah.
I actually rewatched that after I watched this movie where I nearly died laughing. Why? It's so funny, right? The mere fact he do it on that green screen. I mean, he wanted to be a meme, right? But anyway, yes. So Shia LaBeouf, right, who plays Sam Witwicky, right? And here's where we can start to talk about, do we need human characters in this show, right? So I understand from a marketing perspective, right? Okay, we're not just gonna make this film for the fans. You have to make this for non-fans as well too. You have to make it for people who generally want to spend a few hours and shove popcorn in the face, right? So you have to have a character that you can relate to. You have to have a character who's seen all this weird shit to be like, what the hell going on, right? So that's who he is, right? You could kind of argue whether you like him or not, because right off the bat he is this nerdy character, right? But I mean, given what the show is trying to be, it kind of makes sense, right? So anyway,
right.
So we see him at this history class. He's doing this genealogy presentation of his great-great-grandfather, Archibald, right? We see Megan Fox's character, Michaela. I'll talk about her in a bit. And, of course, she's seated to some jock dude. So, yeah, it's the whole revenge of the dudes kind of shit. Like, dorky guy wants to be with the hot chick, but the hot chick is with this douche, right? Yeah, it's so 80s, but, I mean, whatever, right? It's
Michael Bay.
Things, right? And it's Michael Bay, right?
Yeah.
So, just to touch on...
A lot of people argue that you could have made her the star, because she was like the actual competent one. She knew about cars more and, whoever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that just kind of leads to a bigger argument about Michael Bay, right? But anyway.
Right.
But just to touch on Megan Fox, too, right? Just briefly, right? For a lot of people, I think this was our first introduction to Megan Fox, right? And I admit, like, even when I was watching it again, she's sweet. She's real sweet, right?
Yeah.
But it was like, oh my God, she is like the hottest thing I have ever seen in the world, and I need to see this movie for the sole purpose of seeing her. No. She looked the part. She is eye candy. Let's be real. That's why she there and whatnot, right? And, you kind of project yourself onto Sam. It's like, you want Sam to hook up with you because you want to hook up with you, right? But in no way was I like, blown out of my mind over her, right? And so funny that she was the second one, and and a lot of people argue that like performance wise she was a lot better, but I just hated the fact that they just kind of had her just be like this background character, really have not much to do. Literally had a friggin' transformer hump the back of she leg and all that kind of stuff, which was annoying. But it's so funny that in the third film she wasn't even there, Jenna. It's just like the backlash that she got.
Yeah, he lose she. So that's all that drama.
So I don't know if you have any quick thing to say about Megan, like what like even like in the first movie, like did she stand out to you at all, or was it just like, well,
she was just
it's a Michael Bay movie, so hot chick, all right, okay, well,
right, that was pretty much it. She didn't stick with me, and again, I was old enough for that to not stick with me. Like if I was younger, maybe, but yeah, by then I was like 19 at the time or whatever. So it was like it wasn't. Sorry, what? No, my brain farted for a second. Not 19, definitely older than that. But I was by then it was like
in your 20s, yeah.
Right, yeah. But yeah, it was just a girl. Like it was just there, like I clearly the camera lingering and whatever it is. But then I didn't think I'd know one way or the other. I was like, yeah, she hot, but she didn't. I ain't go home thinking about it or nothing like that. It was whatever. It's not Selma Hayek in Men in Black,
Uh,
right? It's not that, right? It's again, it's the age. If I was younger, it would have matter. So but again, that is what these movies for. They're clearly for 13-year-old boys, but they work for what they are.
Yeah, I understand, right? So anyway, so Archibald is one of the first people to explore the Arctic Circle, right? And we actually get a really cool flashback scene, like in terms of visuals, right? I mean, if you could argue with Michael Bay just being this terrible director, and all he likes to do is just make explosions. When it comes to like this coming up with some just great looking sequences, yeah, the man crushes it, but
Yeah,
and
exactly.
just that sequence in the Arctic Circle just looked gorgeous.
Okay, so yeah,
right?
there's something I have a incredible obnoxious. This idea that Michael Bay is a bad filmmaker is ridiculous. People need to cut that bullshit out. He's a very, like, from a visual standpoint, great. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know how to make them shots. You see that sunlight, however it is, you know, that sunset, them slow shots. He know it.
Oh yeah. For real. Mm. Right. So basically like his Archibald's ship was trapped in some ice, and he was getting his crew members to kind of cut their way out, and he drops the line, no sacrifice, no victory, right? And for some odd reason, I do even question, no, that is like the Witwicky motto. So like how the dad was able, how like the father in the film was able to know that's what Archibald said. I don't even know. The film don't even stop to answer this, but whatever, right? But anyway, so Sam brings to mind, the glasses, right? So Archibald's glasses, right? And it has these specific cracks in them, right? And then we learn also he's selling them on eBay because he's trying to raise money to buy a car, right? And there's this kind of unnecessary subplot involving him trying to get 3 straight A's so he could go to his dad because dad spent up half the money and he had the other half. So eventually he had to beg the history teacher to give him money, and he get one, right? So right off the bat he goes to the father who I mentioned earlier, Sam's dad, and they head over to this well, we assume it was going to be a dealership, right? I actually forgot this happened in the movie. Like they went to this car dealership. It's like, nope, that's not where we're going.
They call him oh gosh, shit.
Bernie Mac. Yeah,
Bernie Mac, right? Yeah.
Was it? I always remember him in this movie, Dread.
Yeah.
Right. So they basically go to this car lot where Bernie Mac, who plays Bobby Bolivia, right? Not like the country, because the country already runs this. That's what I really have to not spend a lot of time, but I have to mention, some of them might be humor jokes, but you have a way of just having this obnoxious humor that just mostly fall flat. It's in this movie as well too. And case in point, Bobby have an assistant man. He's like, yo man, hey! You know what I mean? And then he yelling at him, and man, he's a clown. And then they have a bit with him calling out not the grandmother, get the grandmother. He call out the mother, and the mother flip him, and it's like, oh yeah, my mama's deaf, man, all that kind of stuff. It's just that cringe humor.
Yeah.
Which got worse with the other sequels, right? But yeah, it started here, right? Moving on. So there's a nice little visual cue where basically you see a Camaro like drive, past the car, past Sam's father's car, right? And then drives into the lot. I thought that was like a really great call, right? So Sam ends up spotting that Camaro, right? And he checks it out for himself, right? And Bobby and Manny's like, I never seen this car before. And yes, there's a Bumblebee ornament inside, and if you look at it, it says Biotch. So again, that might be humor. Falling flat, right? Whatever, right? And then on the steering wheel, you see the Autobot insignia. I thought that was really cool having that there, right?
Right.
For the fans, right? So Bobby now pretty much don't want to sell the car to Sam because of his cheap ass father, right? But then the car itself starts acting weird, right? First, the passenger door open, and then it knocks the car alongside it, and then the radio tunes on, and I think it emits some sound wave because it was like it was playing a song. It just like tune the station, and then this boom happened, and like all the surrounding cars around it, all the windows, windshields, all that kind of stuff just smashed, right? One time, and then Bobby just ends by saying 4,000, right? So essentially, Bobby ends up selling the car, right? And another trope now that comes with these Transformers movies, again, it's not just the American military. We gotta go deeper now. So we gotta go to Washington D.C. We have to go into the Pentagon now, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, we get these bits involving John Keller, who is played by John Voight, right? The Secretary of Defense, right? And he brings this classroom-sized group of NSA recruits, and all basically kind of brings them in to more or less explain to them, okay, you get a briefing about what happened in Qatar with the attack with the Decepticon and all that kind of stuff, right? So anyway, back to Qatar now. A team is sent out to look for more of these Decepticons, right? And they never really say what happened to the larger one. That's another nitpick I have. Like, it just kind of ends with him blowing up shit. We don't really know if he escapes or whatnot. But the smaller one is there. You see him still boring in the desert, right? So we cut back now, and this is one thing that the show does. I know this kind of annoys people. We kind of cut it back from the Transformer stuff to, it's this dorky kid trying to get with the hot chick, right? So yeah, Sam and his friend basically drive over to this random party hangout thing at this lake. And it's like, oh my god, Michaela's here, right? And it's kind of weird that like at the moment that Michaela boyfriend spots them, Sam friend just start climbing a tree. And like the douchey boyfriend asks like, what are you here for? It's like, yeah, I'm here to climb this tree, right? So yeah, this is another thing that people kind of like. I kind of don't like about Sam Witwicky's character. Yeah, he's the kind of guy who just kind of talk his way out of shit. So he shit talks to get out of situations. Now. Sometimes it work, other times like, all right, you just kind of winging it here, and it just kind of running a scene a little too long. Okay, so it's up to the viewer, right? But anyway, right? So it gets to the point where Michaela just kind of get fed up because she boyfriend is acting like an asshole, so she just walks out, right? And Sam and the friend pick up. Michaela's walking on her own. Let's go and pick her up and drive her, get her home and all that kind of stuff, right? And Bumblebee now being this love doctor now, suddenly kind of tuned his radio. I'll talk about this in a second, right? And he plays the classic song "Drive" from the Cars. Haha, wink, wink, right? You know that. Who's gonna drive you home? Now, I'll admit, right? First time that moment happened, seen it in theaters, I laugh. The audience laugh. It's like, all right, he tuned it, right? When you look at it now, the film itself kind of explains it later on. Like, it essentially, like, I feel like Bumblebee kind of curates songs now, because they established later on that his voice box, if you will, was destroyed. Sorry, damaged in a battle, right?
Yeah,
so he kind of communicates through audio bits.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
we call it soundboard.
Right. But the thing is, you can't watch me in my face and tell me he tuned to a radio station and he playing that one song and that's per Sam to do what he does, which is he said.
I just assume.
Again, I just feel like he just curates songs and it's just like, all right, at this specific moment, I'm just gonna play this to get him to do that.
It's a songboard. It's a songboard. He just record the song and then he save the data now. Whatever.
Yeah. But at the time, we literally did think, because it's how the shot was. We see the radio tune, so you think, he just find a station and it's like, I don't know, some adult contemporary station. So like, hey, that, right? But anyway, so Sam picks her up and they're driving on whatnot. Bumblebee makes things even worse now, more awkward by suddenly slowing down, and then he tunes his radio to Marvin Gaye's Sexual Healing. Another moment where people were cracking up, but when you look at it now, it's like, yeah, Rel only knows kind of shit, right? Whatever, right? And then they get to another trope, right? The hot girl who's into cars stuff, right? Again, not saying that woman should not know a thing or two about cars, but this specific hot chick, right? Who you think
it's very I'm not like other girls bullshit. Is that not?
Yeah. And very you could see the Fast and Furious influence as well too, right?
Right.
So of course you get that iconic shot, now iconic, with Michaela popping the hood and then the camera just linking on she abs, and like real sweaty and shit. You still remember it. You still remember it, right? But some people might look at it as, we just try to over-sexualize her and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, well, she's sweaty and she tan, so yeah. Right. I get where you're coming from. But then again, it's Michael B, so you kind of know.
Again,
if I
was younger, this would have stick with me. It does not.
Yeah, right. So it's nightfall now. Sam drops Michaela home, right? And then, well, there's a moment where she asks if he finds her to be shallow, right? And then Sam responds with a kind of cringe but kind of clever line where he says, "I think there's a lot more that meets the eye with you."
Right.
Because Transformers theme song, right?
Yeah.
Then she's like, aha, then she just kind of walks off, right? Now, to be fair, yes, it's a cringe line, right? But I love that the show itself knows it's a cringe line. Right afterwards, Sam is like, "This is stupid. What's stupid? More than meets the eye. What the hell?" Like, he had all comments on how bad the line is. So I love that bit. But let me be clear, it's a cringe.
It's how you feeling about that, because just recognizing you do bullshit don't mean you ain't do bullshit. So I don't know.
Yeah, agree,
Right.
right? So now we cut to Air Force One, and then we get one of the film's most memorable moments for me now, where we see, one of the president's men, if you will, right, reading a newspaper, and underneath you see this portable speaker, which, surprise,
Right.
surprise, is a Decepticon. I always thought back then that was a really cool look. You're thinking,
Yeah.
all right, it's all vehicles, vehicles, vehicles. So it's like, okay, you have this little boombox looking thing. Oh, that's a Decepticon as well, too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, it plays on the whole, oh, I'm small, so I have to go and make all these kind of weird gremlin like noises.
Yeah.
But still, it's generic as well, right? But I will lie though, he a sneaky mofo, boy. The way how he able to sneak really effectively, and basically he just goes in and hacks the Air Force server there, right? That's his job. But the way that whole transformation from speaker into Decepticon, I thought that was really cool. I really love that, right? And in the whole hacking, he uncovers a folder called Project Iceman, and he just starts extracting files, right? So Air Force is forced to land, Air Force One, sorry, is forced to land, right? And then upon landing on US airspace now, Decepticon escapes, right? And then we get a great moment now, a really slight subversion of the whole Autobot Decepticon distinction, where a police car shows up. And in your head, as a fan, you're thinking, all right, Autobots are cars, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this police car is a friggin' Decepticon too. And I was like, I love that. I love that subversion. I guess if you're a Transformers nerd, even if you're a Transformers nerd, you gotta admit that shit was clever, right?
Yeah.
But lastly, in the process, though, they find out that about Archibald, right? Through the hacking, right? Find out about Archibald.
Right. Because they had like really fast access to the
language.
internet.
Yes. There was a code actually that was transcribed onto the cracks in the glasses.
And
then they find out who actually owns it as Sam, and because on eBay his account is ladies man 217 is like, all right, he's the owner, we have to go for him, right? But yeah, any quick thoughts on that whole subversion of Decepticon is actually the car thing? Like any quick thoughts on that?
No, all of that was just like cool and clever at the time. I was like, oh shit, this is really a thing. Because again, I was watching it in movie tongue at the time. I was like, oh shit, it's a car. Fine. Like it's nothing too mind blowing to talk about, but like it's just good. Just a clever conceit. And again, at the time, most everybody it plays on the popular culture now. Autobots cars. Yeah, I get it. Good.
Yeah. So on the same night now, Sam is woken up by Bumblebee, rumbling engine, right?
Right.
Sam runs out. They see Bumblebee driving off, right? And this is where we get the first of many moments in the trilogy. That's what I'll call the first 3 Transformers movies with Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, we're basically just running or riding, and he's like, no. And then later on, it'll be Bumblebee, Optimus, Bumblebee, right? He always has to run and scream or drive and scream, right? He always has to scream because that's what Sam does, right? So this is where it all begins, right? So Bumblebee now drives in this abandoned area. He sees some like old dilapidated buildings and all that kind of stuff. And then afterwards, he see Bumblebee transformed into his Autobot form, right? And it's a great reveal actually. I won't lie, it's a great reveal. This is the first time that we see Bumblebee in Autobot form, right?
Yeah.
And then
this is the big complaint. I did have a problem with this, which is the looks of the Transformers. Even though I like the transformation song, I was not a fan of the look. I really wanted them to be closer to the original 80s look.
To the original, yeah.
Right.
I know there's a big criticism.
The only one that really got right was Optimus Prime, I felt. That's the only thing, that's the one I didn't mind. All the others
it looked like a modern take on how he looked, like just the iconic look of him in Gen 1, Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like the new designs, I didn't have an issue with them per se, right? But I can understand if you're a fan, like, yeah, I kind of want them to look the way how I knew them, right? It's one of those give and take kind of things, right? So a police car shows up now, and Sam is arrested, right? Because he was called the police and all that kind of stuff. So probably they just think he was disturbing the peace, right? So we go back now to Qatar now, and then the team of soldiers that includes Robert and William. They arrive at this radio tower, right? And then the Decepticon attacks, right? And for me, this is one of the best action sequences in this movie, bar none. Because this is Scorpion Up thread, right? Mm-hmm. And everything about the scene works too. The editing, pacing, music, even the design of Scorpion Up, I love it.
Yeah, great, look great.
Of course, you get that shot. One of the best shots in the movie. That wide shot of Scorpion Up just jumping out of the sand.
Slow-mo.
Yeah. My God, when I see that, I get chills, I get chills. I love that. And then how it goes even further because William and Robert call it for airstrike and they know is Michael Bay. So he's like, bring the rain and all that kind of stuff. And he just builds attention. That one bit that almost kind of take you out of it, that's where William is calling for help and then he ends up talking to this Indian telecommunicator. He's like, I don't understand what you're saying, sir, blah blah blah. It's that bit, like even that bit didn't take me out of the show because everything did take me out of that sequence because everything around it was just so badass, right? And then in closing, just these jets come, they drops bombs. Scorponok is pretty much destroyed, but his tail is left behind, right? And that's where the scene ends. But yeah, Ricardo, any thoughts on this whole Scorponok attack sequence?
Again, seeing it in movie tongue, quite impressive, blowing my mind. I was just shocked at how they just get these wide shots, the framing, the pace, as I say, the pacing is so good, and it just that sense of heat and like, oh yeah, right, he kind of stalking them and hunting them. I'm like, yeah, that real working though. Yeah, I really solid scene.
Yeah. So back at the Pentagon now. So one of the characters we introduced is Maggie, right? Played by Rachel Taylor. Last time I saw her was I think it was in Jessica Jones or one of those Netflix shows, right? And personally, if I had to pick between her and Megan, I'd pick Rachel. I think Rachel is the more attractive of the two.
This is Michael
just for me. I think
this is Michael Bay's attempt at subversion, right? So he have the hot chick, kind of a hot chick, and then he have a much even hotter chick, right?
But she's smart. She's right.
Look how nerdy she is, right? However, moving on.
Yeah, which he did to an annoying degree in the last film, right? But I didn't even want to talk about the last thing. My God, I didn't even want to talk about that, right? So yeah, the whole thing is this signal that was sent during the first attack, right? It's like, also there's a code embedded in it, and there's only one person that she knows that can find out what the code is. Right. And I was surprised when I see him in this movie, boy, Anthony Anderson, boy.
Right.
If you remember in the 2000s, he was kind of big. Like I always like enjoyed him in stuff like what was the show? Malibu's Most Wanted. I know it's a terrible movie, but I'm a fan of it. I think it's a guilty pleasure of mine. It's like, hey, you in this as well too. And this guy was in this as well too. Omar Benson Miller from he was in 8 Mile as well too, right? Quite recently, he was in the last days of Tony Gray. He was in that show as well too, right? But yeah, he plays Glenn. That Anthony's character's name, right? So yeah, he's Glenn cousin, right? And there's actually a hilarious bit now when the FBI suddenly show up, right? There's a moment where he like just busts through the glass doors of the house, and he's like, I'm just a cousin, and he falls into the pool there. So essentially, both Maggie and Glenn get arrested. But I don't know, just seeing Anthony Anderson in this movie was just like, all right, But
so
I have to see this last bit though. They have to do that whole annoying thing now where it's like, he can't just be a comic relief. There has to be somebody he has to yell at. So it's like, he has a grandmother off screen. Shut up, grandma! Drink the prune juice, grandma!
Right.
I was like,
God. And he had to be, of course, he have to be fat and black, right? So
of course, right?
Of course,
because smart black men who know their way around computers and whatnot have to be fat, right? Because
he had to be fat and black, and they had to do a fat and black thing where he eat the whole plate. That's one of the most famous scene.
Right.
So shout out to somebody
this is the interrogation scene bit.
Right.
If it's one bit I love about the it's kind of crazy, but I was laughing at when I saw it. When he spilled the beans on Maggie when the good cop bad cop came out, right? And he's like, "Don't talk to me, woman! Don't talk to me."
Right, so shout out. I don't know. I haven't seen her online. I think she had some drama where she not online anymore and she kind of left. But she has a really good series on Transformers films. Somebody called The Whole Plate. That's Lindsay Ellis, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
I should check those out.
Yeah. Those are great analysis and breakdowns of basically, through the lens of the Transformers and how you had to respect them for what they are. But she does a good job of. And I don't think she's praised them or anything like that. But she just shows the conceit of modern film theory in that conceit now. And yeah, it's a great rundown of her write-up. It's a while back she did this. I don't know how long. It's like about 5 or 6 years ago. But yeah, you could find how to make them work in this case. But she have a whole breakdown of the Transformers film with her perspective. But yeah, so I do recommend those.
Right. So back now to Bumblebee, right? So Bumblebee show back up at the Witwickies, and Sam basically chased after him. He jumped on the mom's bike and sat chased after him, right? This is right after he gets freed, from the police, right? Conveniently, he runs into Michaela, and then he continues going after Bumblebee, right? Sorry, I like he's trying to run away from him actually, because he think that Bumblebee is Satan's Camaro out to kill him, right? So that kind of shit, right? And then Michaela was like, all right, let me just jump on a little moped and follow and see what's going on, right? And that pretty much leads the two of them now. They go underneath this large bridge, and then the police car from before shows up, right? And there's a nice kind of blink in the missing moment where you look at the side of the police car, you see to punish and enslave. I was like, aha. Yeah. I see you, right? And afterwards, the police car itself attacks Sam, right? And then it transforms. And you see, like how you say you wish that they stuck with the Cybertronian voice, whatever it is. Well, in this case, he starts talking English, right? So he's like, you use a name, so. Where are the glasses? Right? Then afterwards, Bumblebee shows up, sees the two of the sees Sam and Michaela, right? And he's still in car form at this point in time, right? Now, we'll lie to you. See what you want about Michael B, but he does do car chases damn good. Like, I still love the car chase in The Rock. And I would say, while this one is not as great as the one in The Rock, though, this one comes close. But this sequence, this car chase sequence kicks ass.
Bad Boys, the first two.
Oh yes. First two Bad Boys movie had those car chases. But this car chase just kicks ass. You know what I mean? There's a moment now where Bumblebee forces Sam and Michaela out of him, kinda like he just kind of turns and open the car, right? And he open the side door and the Wallace get thrown out, and then he turns into Bumblebee, right? Yeah. And again, because I watch with the audience, I was screaming every time a transformation take place. Yeah, when he turned into Bumblebee, the Autobot, it looked damn great. Yeah, and you get a pretty kick-ass fight scene between the two of them, right? Now, in retrospect, because slight spoiler, that Decepticon comes back later. The way how that scene kind of ends, you're almost thinking, like Bumblebee smash him to bits there. Because right afterwards, you see the little tiny Decepticon, try to attack Sam, and then Sam try to attack him, and then Michaela's the one who come with a drill and pretty much kill him. I think it's a saw basically and kill him, right? But there's a really cool moment though, by the way. Again, these ideas, right? Where like right afterwards, where they take it, everything's all cool and we're driving away now. The same small Decepticon like looks at Michaela's phone, throws it away, and then turns into a replica of the same phone. I was like, what, dude? That's real hard, right?
Yeah, the old scanning thing, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of hard though, there's a nice little bit afterwards where Sam attempts to like he's trying to talk to Bumblebee, right? But then like again with the soundboard thing, he's just using all these random sound bites, right? Like just to act like to act as responses. I thought that was cool. Right? But that again, like look at it now. That's where I figure the whole music bits come into play. Like, this is why I could tune my radio and play that. So it's cool. It's cool, right? There's also another nice bit though where Bumblebee overhears Michaela say, "Well, if you use this big gigantic robot, why you always turn back into this crappy Camaro, right?" And Bumblebee just drives off now, tilts on his side, right?
Yeah.
Picks up another Camaro driver. I think it's a 2007 Camaro, right?
Yeah, look hard.
And then hear literally the same song that they use for what they call the Kill Bill theme song. That's not the name of the song. It's actually from a Yakuza film, right? But yeah, when I heard that song, I mean, I am a huge fan of Kill Bill Volume 1, right? So when that song kicked in and you see the reveal of Bumblebee with the new chassis, I will lie, I'm all over the place. I clap. I was like, yeah!
And it's a complete coincidence. It's a complete coincidence with the same yellow and black there.
Yeah.
Right.
It is, right? But yeah, and especially when the da comes in and you just see it come on. Like, it's real, car commercial style, the way how it looks and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I think that scene great. It's cheesy as hell, but I love it. I just, this want to hear your thoughts on this, Ricardo. And dude, I don't care if you thought it was cheesy or what. That admit it, you loved that scene. Don't front. You clapped. You're ball when you see that scene. Don't front. It's so. But yeah. And you thought of the whole Bumblebee reveal thing.
Yeah. It's real hard. Like again, the whole mod. They had an update and look, it's a car commercial. They had a hype up camera and we call them Pontiac.
Pontiacs.
Pontiac. They had a hype up themselves, right? So
and GMC boy, GMC and Hummers. So those four brands were full display in this whole
display. Full display. But yeah, they had to make it work. That's why you had to pay for it. But yeah, it is a good scene. It make it work. They had to show off the shit, and it looked good. It's hard. It's hype. Good.
Yeah. So Bumblebee now arrives at this observatory to await the arrival of his 4 Autobot brethren, right? Who you see hurtling towards Earth as this, I make the joke, is the smaller version of the one from Armageddon style meteors, right?
Yeah.
And no lie, Steve Jablonsky, who does the score for this, right? The song that they play here, it's called Arrival to Earth.
Yeah.
When I hear that, I get chills by that. Dun, 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 dun. I hear that, I get chills, you know. I get chills. That song, oh my God, I love that song. It's easily the best song in this whole movie, right? And when you're just seeing the meteors coming down to Earth and just how it all cut and just how it all put together, though, set to that music, I love it. It's brilliant, right? Speaking of Armageddon, right? Before you get to your thoughts on this whole sequence, right? The fat kid who's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Right.
It's everywhere. It's like 100 times cooler than Armageddon. I swear to God. Well, like, you're right.
No, but everybody laugh when they hear that joke. Like everybody laugh when they hear that joke.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time, it's not the last time that you reference his films, right? Look at the obnoxious way he referenced Bad Boys 2 in the second film, Revenge of the Fallen. I hate that. Well, all right, let's have a Bad Boys 2 poster, and conveniently, let's have a Cloverfield poster. By the way, I think the teaser for Transformers, this movie here came out around the same time. The first teaser for Cloverfield dropped, by the way, because it came out around the same time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, just continue with the sequence here, then you'll get to your thoughts on this, right? When Optimus Prime shows up, there was the semi trailer by audience went nuts, boy, and even better when when all of them show up in front of Sam and Michaela, right? All of them being Optimus, Bumblebee, Jazz, Ratchet, and Ironhide, right? And they transform from the vehicles into Autobots, boy. Glorious by the visuals for this. My God, the visuals, the VFX still holds up, boy. You know what I mean? So, Ricardo, any thoughts on the Autobots' arrival to Earth?
Yeah, it's a pretty damn cool scene. Well, I think this coming later, but when they actually properly introduced themselves, that was kind of funny because one of them black was Jazz, I think. Like,
Jazz, who by the way is voiced by Darius McCrary, aka Eddie Winslow. My mind was blown when I saw that. Dread. I love what the first thing he says was cracking little bitches.
Yeah, but
crack. I want to see that.
But it little dated. Like, okay, Michael, all right, you could stop. But seeing Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime was great. But the problem, again, there's a big complaint I had about this, the whole Optimus mouth talking thing. Terrible call.
Yeah, I remember that being a thing. I remember that being a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that I hated.
But at least they have the mouth guard, I guess.
Yeah,
like, but that's when he fighting. That's when he fighting. You know.
I bet the mouth guard should be on. Mouth guard should be on all the time. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean I can't understand because that's what we knew him as, right? But I felt the whole mouth thing is, it's for the non-fans, right? But admittedly, when you look at the mouth, it's like, well. But still, it's something I kind of let slide, right? Also, I kind of find it funny. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but I did find it funny back then that they learned all of Earth languages through the internet. But that makes sense.
I like stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
So Optimus had to be the Mr. Expository now. So he's telling the whole story of Megatron, right? Now, if I have one gripe with this movie, boy, is that we had to wait a long while. I'll tell you how long later. We had to wait a long while to see Megatron in present day,
right.
and the Decepticons themselves and them like going up against our heroes, right? Literally near the end of the third act is when they all gang up together, right? Now to be fair, Revenge of the Fallen tried to fix that. It showed you more Decepticons, and they were there early on, right? But it was too much of them and a lot of time spent on them, right? So it's that kind of give and take thing. But I won't lie, this was a big gripe that I had with this movie here. Yeah, you had to wait. You had to be checking your clock. You had to be checking your watch all the time to be wondering, when Megatron come in, though. But anyway, in the flashback, we see him there, and we talk about the Allspark because it was the Cube, but now it's the Allspark, right? And all that kind of stuff, right? So essentially, this is how Sam and Michaela learn about what is going on and who the bad guy is, and all that kind of stuff. Now, you talk about design of the characters and whatnot. I'd imagine a lot of people had issues with the design of Megatron, right? Because he looks way different than how he is in the
me too.
series,
I find the whole, like, again, I get what the logic of it. I get the logic of the design.
Yeah, it's like he had to look like monstrous. He's the villain.
But
he must look monstrous and ogre-ish. Yeah. Like if you look at his face, it's very ogre-ish, but still it's like I still kind of like the old design. Now,
Yeah,
now
exactly.
in the show's defense, I feel maybe it's like they felt like if they kept it to how it was in the old version, it would have looked kind of similar to, you had to distinguish the Autobots from the Decepticons. So let's make the Decepticons look ugly and menacing, right? While the Autobots look
Right.
cool and whatnot. So I feel that's the reason why Megatron looks the way he does. But yeah, I feel a lot of people had issues with Megatron's design in this film. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, yeah. I felt it was just a little too over designed. That was the main problem with it. So it's like, you get into that weird conceit of, well, he had to look super this, but he had to look like this, and it felt very designed by committee. I find. But to me, I wanted a simpler design. It didn't have to look like the old cartoon design, but no, they could have do something more modern. I have a bunch of people on the internet who did their own things. I forget the fella's name. This fellows do, posters for Marvel. I forget his name. The guy online, I forget his name. He is a guy like that now. Like, he does a decent Photoshop could make it work. But yeah, this was a little too over designed for my liking. Because I don't mind Starscream, he's okay. But this was too spiky, too weird, too spiky, too much going on. So yeah.
Right, yeah. And then you also learned too that Archibald was the one who found Megatron. Like, he was buried in the ice. Like, when he activated it by accident, while Megatron's eyes opened and, it tipped. I think it blinded Archibald. But in the process, he put the code of, on the glasses, basically, of where the cube is, right?